Hey folks, it is Vince, the Evil Dungeon Master, back with another episode of the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. As you can see, we got some new artwork from one of my listeners on my YouTube channel. Batman Tim sent me this awesome cover update, so I decided to use it because I love when fans interact and hand something to me. I'm definitely going to give credit and send it over. So I appreciate that. Don't forget, you can contact me, ask the DM at theevildm.com if you want to email me about questions or anything like that, and I will answer you back right away, or let me know in the email if I can read it on the air if it's something like that. Some people don't exactly like their stuff read on the air, so. But I did get a question from another listener on my channel, Stephanie, who listens to my YouTube channel quite often. And follows along with the co-op plays that I do on there as well. That's youtube.com/theevildm. That's my YouTube channel that's going well. But today we're going to be talking about her question that she asked me in an email, and it's asking, what is a underrated fantasy game that you have, that I have, that most people don't know about or may know about and don't often play, that you think is worth mentioning, obviously. Um, so I was looking through my books, and other than the usual suspects of played in fantasy, D&D, Pathfinder, things like that, there's one fantasy setting that most people forget about, overlook, maybe don't like, and that is West End Games D6 Fantasy. When in 2003, uh, Eric Gibson in Purgatory Publishing purchased West End Games from Humanoids Publishing, excuse me, uh, in 2003, towards the end of 2003, around November-ish, and then started revamping everything. They used to have a D6 universe system that included modern, sci-fi, and fantasy all in one. So Eric, when he took over, one of the first things he did was he separated them into books. And we got D6 Fantasy, D6 Space, and D6 Action Modern. I forget what the name of it was. It was basically his take on D20 Modern, but D6 Modern. All the books were actually really well done as far as writing and everything like that, but the layout in D6 Fantasy, well, the cover, I have the hardcover right here in front of me, and I'm looking at it, and the hardcover is kind of like a generic, you know, book. It's just a woman standing there, and it says D6 Fantasy with the green trim. And this was 2004 when they actually started publishing this as its own separate material. Stephen Marsh actually helped on editing on this, and Eric Gibson was the publisher. But I mean, the layout on this book is not friendly for your eyes because it's got kind of got a dark gray background with black typewriting on it, and that is not that great to read. The interior is black and white art. I mean, he just started kind of doing publishing as a one man show. I don't know what his budget was. I mean, he has some names here that were designing things. So, um, yeah, I mean, he owned all the things. He owned Masterbook, Shatterzone, and Torg at the time. So, I'm sorry to see the West End Games is pretty much gone now, due to the owner that had purchased it from Eric Gibson had passed away, and the couple of licenses that the person had allowed, I don't know if they're still valid or not, but West End Games is pretty much sitting dormant at the time right now. I don't think anybody owns them. Yeah, it doesn't list anybody. I'm looking it up right now as we're talking. Um, Remnants acquired them in 2016 by Nocturnal Media. That's who actually owns it. D6 Legends, nobody owns that, but it looks like Nocturnal Media owned it until 2017, and it's just been sitting dormant since 2017. There was a license, like I said, there was a licensing deal to publish second edition of a D6 system made with Gallant Knight Games in 2017. But the company founder Scott Palter fell ill and died on February 17th, 2020. So it's kind of been sitting dormant since 2020 with no activity. And I guess Gallant Knight Games was supposed to do a second edition of D6, which, I like the original D6 system as it is, and I don't want Gallant Knight Games to update it. I don't like their tiny D6 stuff. So if it's anything gonna be anything like that, then no offense to the company, but I don't like that system. Everyone has their opinion. I don't care. But the one fantasy setting that most people don't remember is the world of Aden. It was based off of an SSI game in '95. 95 there was a PC DOS game called Aden and Thunderscape, and Shane Lacey Hensley, I think I'm saying that correctly, wrote the world book for this world of Aden, and it was meant for D6 fantasy, but back then it was just the D6 system because previous owners had just one book with that big splash page that said D6 on it, and it had like the fantasy, the sci-fi, and the modern all on the one page. And this was designed for that, along with the what they thought was going to take off for the company master book system, which gave us a World of Indiana Jones, Necroscope. Oh man, this World of Aden, World of Species, which was based off the Alien Species. I forget what it was. Movie it was. World of Tales from the Crypt, which was a weird game itself because I could probably do a whole show on that. But World of Tales from the Crypt, you would play kind of like the TV show back in the World of Tales from the Crypt. You would have an actor who would play in the episode that week that was starring on the show. And whatever the game master, or I think it was called the Ghoul Master, I'm not sure exactly what they wrote there. I have the book, it's somewhere on my shelf. You would play the actor for that episode, and you would expect to probably die, and that was the whole point. And I guess the better that your character did and the whole thing, you got more points to upgrade your actor, so to speak. And we also got World of Tank Girl. I have the master book. The master book still is actually active. It's being done by PIG Games, I think it is. I can't remember the name of the company offhand, and I apologize. I see him all the time on Mayway talking about his group and everything like that, and he definitely is putting excellent work into it. And if I could find him, I will definitely give him proper credit and let him know that I talked about his game because he does a great job. One sec. There it is. Precise Intermediate Games. PIGAMES.net is his company. They still do masterbook stuff. He has a license for it, I guess, or he purchased it. I'm not sure exactly how he got a hold of it. I'm just happy that he's doing something with it, and it's actually not a bad system. But World of Aden was made for D6 towards the end of the D6 era, and for the Masterbook, which I thought was going to take off, but it really didn't. Not a lot of people like the Masterbook system because they found it too math-heavy, too complex. It really isn't a complex game. It's just a matter of knowing what to roll and look at the chart that's on your character sheet to see how many points of your action was successful. It's not that difficult. But World of Aden, based off the video game itself, was not a bad video game for its time. And this book goes into a lot of detail about the actual setting itself. And you could sit here and play an entire game with just this one book. And of course, the core book and the monster, the bestiary, and the locations will probably come in handy. Were the 3 books for D6. This one, as I'm looking through it, is a very good book, I want to say, with good writing, and it talks about the actual world itself, the nations in the world, the races that are in the world, technology used, talks about different settlements in there, and handles sorcery, which a lot of people complained that sorcery or magic in D6 fantasy was a little wacky and not very good. I mean, you had to you had to roll to hit a target number every time you used the spell. So I guess a lot of people really didn't like how that translated. I didn't have a problem with it, so I don't understand why people complained about it. We have our own bestiary here as well, or beastery, I should say. I say bestiary. I forget how the pronunciation is. Some people corrected me. I apologize for that. I'm looking at the bestiary or beastery, whatever you want to call it. I think it's beastery. And we get a lot of standard creatures that you would see. Not a lot of artwork for it, though, but they have things like maggots, dragons, giant worm, grave worm, gremlin, ogre. You have your standard ones in here: lightning lizard, skeleton, shanker, or mecha mechanical nocturnals that assume the shape and form of any metal. That's actually kind of cool sounding. Snow serpents. There's a lot of things in here that you'd never heard of, but it's based on the world itself. Not that in depth. About not really, maybe like 5 or 6 pages worth of monsters, and it gives you ideas how to build new ones. And then we get into building your character towards the end, which is your standard D6 way of making characters that you've probably done in Star Wars or any of the other D6 games at the time. The one thing that they did spend a good amount of pages on towards the back, I want to say, let's see, the last couple of pages are how to convert it to Master Book, in case you want to do it, because the Master Book system is quite different from the regular D6 system. All in all, I think it's a great setting to pick up and use. You can even translate D6 into D20 systems easily for D&D 3.0 or 5 or 4, whatever one you want to play. It's a really good setting. I really enjoyed this. The game, I vaguely remember playing it. It's one of those popular games of the time that you had on your PC. It was like, I think it was a DOS-based game, so it was even before like Windows 95, around there. So yeah, you can pick this up. I think it's pretty cheap to even pick this up. I mean, I don't think there's anybody really looking to sell this out. Let's take a look. Looking online real quick, I have found that it is on Amazon for about $20. You can purchase it if you really want to get it. I'll include a link just so you can find it. I also saw that it looked like Paizo did their take of it for their Pathfinder setting, Thunderscape: The World of Aden, which is based on one of the games. So if you want to get one that's more updated to D20, you can go right to their site, Paizo, and get the PDF. I'm not sure if they actually ever made a print copy of it, but it's easy enough to take a PDF and head down to Kinko's, FedEx, whatever you have in the area, and just print it out. Or you could probably print it out at your printer at home and just have it bound there. I've done that plenty of times. Looks like they did it in around 2014. So, all right. With that said, I hope that answered your question, Stephanie, and thank you, Batman Tim, excuse me, for the artwork. I appreciate it. Thank you for commenting on the channel. Thank you for supporting me. I just want to say, hope everybody has a great day, great weekend, and new show tomorrow. We'll see what we can talk about. Keep it original, keep it old school. God bless, and good night, everybody.